So you're officially ready to do your first real estate development deal. I'm gonna break it down and make it really simple for you. Here are 6 easy steps to do your first deal. Let's discuss. Maybe this was a mistake. Maybe I'm not gonna be able to finish. I was contending with break-ins and vandalism. Just had a neighbor come up and start yelling at me. Welcome back to Brian Bandas Builds a Business, where we discuss real estate development, business building, and how to do both while staying sane and healthy in mind, body, and spirit. What I want to do in this video is make it super simple and digestible for you to know how to do your first real estate development deal. Now, this is going to be really based around a basic residential development. I think the principles probably apply all the way up because you're going to need to know a lot of the same information, whether you're building one house or 40 houses or commercial building. But here are the 6 basic steps that you need to go through in order to do your first real estate development deal. All right, so step 1 might seem really obvious, but you're gonna start with some dirt, with some land. Now, this is a lot that I currently have under contract. It's got a pretty lovely old ranch home on it. The area has appreciated so much that the lot is worth more as dirt than it is as a house. Now, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time right now talking about how you find this dirt because I've done a whole video on that, which I will link right here. You can go check that out. The bottom line is, for a first deal, I encourage you to target something that already has utilities in place, something that's probably a relatively flat-ish lot where you don't have to contend with a lot of unique or challenging site conditions. I made this mistake early on of taking on a couple really tough projects, and particularly when I was building for myself, I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for the construction aspect, and I didn't know how to factor some of those things into the budget, and I paid for it. So get something where utilities are already in place. Your builder, if you're not building for yourself, can help you with that due diligence and help you confirm what's available. And lastly, I really encourage you guys, particularly for your first deals, find something in a good location. It just makes it easier. I did some early projects in some transitioning locations, and while you can make money there, there's some real challenges. Those were the first to turn. When the market turned, a lot of the higher end areas kept selling for a while areas that were transitioning or were a little more questionable for buyers, they stopped selling earlier. Additionally, a couple of the projects that I was building in transitioning areas, the entire life of the project, I was contending with break-ins and vandalism, and it's costly not only in terms of paying to repair these things, but I lost legitimately months fixing these things and waiting to get insurance, etc. And all of a sudden, not only do I have the cost of repairing vandalism, but I've paid 3 or 4 months of carrying costs, which adds up. So start with an easy one. Get your builder to help you with due diligence. Find you a piece of dirt you want to develop. Let's go to step 2. All right, guys, step 2 is plans. Now, generally speaking, you're gonna start with architectural plans. You're gonna go, here's the rough idea of what I want to put on this lot. Maybe it's not the exact plans you end up moving forward with, but it'll at least allow you to put together your pro forma and start to move forward. So you get some architectural plans, then you give those to your surveyor or your engineer, and they put those on some site plans. From there's a whole bunch of other extra plans. You've got utility plans and landscaping plans and all these other extra things that you might need. But early on, in order to get going, in order to have something to show the bank, something to show a builder, something to get your project rolling forward, you need to select some basic architectural plans that represent sort of the gist of what you're wanting to build. And then you can start figuring out a budget and making tweaks. You can make sure that it fits on the site. Every once in a while, you end up with a site that actually demands specific things out of your architectural plans. For instance, if your site is sloped back heavily.
What are you doing?
What am I doing?
Yeah.
Just had a neighbor come up and start yelling at me. Had to deal with that for a second. On occasion, you will have a site that demands certain things from your architectural plans. Like if the site slopes back really far, you might want to have a walkout basement or that kind of thing. But if you're starting with a pretty simple flat lot with utilities in place, you can start with something fairly basic and it should be sort of smooth sailing. You find a normal plan that you like that fits the building envelope of the lot. You have your engineer put that on your site plan where you want it to go. Have him give you some finished floor elevations and you're ready to rock and roll. Other plans, like for instance your utility plan, will tell you where to do things like run giant trenches through your yard for underground utilities and fun stuff like that. All right, so you've got your lot. Now you've got some plans. It's time to put together a pro forma. Step 3, pro forma. Now this is actually pretty basic. We're talking about, I don't even want to call it a guess. I want you to make your best prediction, an educated prediction. This is where you got to put a little time and a little research in, make some phone calls into your expenses and your sales price. Your pro forma simply is going to say, here's all the costs to do this deal. Here's the sales price at the end. What's the profit or loss between the two? Your expenses, generally speaking, are going to be the cost of your lot, cost of construction, whatever fee you're paying to your builder, your carrying costs, interest carry, maybe other soft costs like utilities while you own it, whatever commission you are paying to an agent, and your closing costs. Add all that up, that's your expenses. Let's say that adds up to $500,000 and you reasonably believe that you can sell this house for $600,000. All right, you've got a $1,000 profit. $1,000, come on. You've got a $100,000 profit. So it's actually pretty simple. The hard part is you've got to put in cushion. You've got to put in cushion in case your sales price comes in wrong or your build price gets blown up because you've got a problem on the site or something like that. Work closely with a good agent and a good builder to get these numbers right. By the way, I go through the pro forma in depth. I even include some sample pro formas and the one that I use in my Deal Architect course if you want to go a little deeper on that. Hey, by the way, guys, okay, 3 down, 3 to go. If you are really serious about doing your first real estate development deal, and there's a lot of reasons why I think you should be, there is not a better resource out there than the Deal Architect course. I created it myself. Am I biased? Yes. Am I wrong? No. It's got 32 videos plus a bunch of bonus videos walking you through the details of what we're talking about here, a lot of minutia. There's a lot of documents that I use in my business, so I've shared the PDF on there. There's recordings of phone calls. It's extremely thorough. So if you're serious about it, go over to dealarchitect.org and check that out. I can almost guarantee you there is not going to be a better way for you to really dig in and understand how to do a lot of the stuff we're talking about in detail. In fact, because my goal with this video is for you to be able to take these basic steps, put them into action, and do your first deal in 2025, I'm going to give you a little discount. If you go to dealarchitect.org right now and use the code BBBB2025, you'll get $250 off, all right? Also, hey, big shout out to Thomas Price. I told you guys to shoot me an email and let me know your address for those of you who want to book. And Thomas responded, so I'm actually sending a book to Thomas. Well, by the time you're seeing this, hopefully he has it. So shout out to Thomas. And by the way, leave a comment on this video. I'll pick somebody at random to send a free book to, but not just any book. This sexy little baby right here. That's right, it's 10 bucks on Amazon. Real Estate Development 101. Go check it out. Now, before we go back to the job site, as you guys know, I like fitness. I like to get a little sweaty in the middle of the day. It kind of helps me reset, keeps me sane, keeps me emotionally and mentally grounded and healthy, gets my blood flowing. So I'm gonna go get sweaty. I'm gonna take my gorgeous baby blue Haas t-shirt, which you can snag one of those. It's from Bad Rad Dad, badraddad.store. I'm gonna take it down to the garage gym and get a little sweaty. Come with me, let's get ripped and let's go do some work. In fact, today, the day that I'm filming this, is Veterans Day. And so I'm actually gonna do what's called a hero workout. It's a CrossFit workout. It's called Chad 1000X, and it's a grind. My plyo box right here, I'm gonna turn it to 20 inches, and I'm gonna do 1,000 box step-ups with a weighted vest on. Don't worry, I'm not gonna make you watch 1,000. Well, I can't make you watch anything. I'm not gonna play 1,000 box step-ups, but that's what I'm about to do. Let's get sweaty. All right, 100 down. Took me 5 minutes. So that's not bad. I doubt I'll keep that pace for 1,000, but it'll probably take me an hour to do this. And man, that's one of the things I love about fitness, truly, is the mental aspect. That might be the main reason I keep coming back to it and I won't stop, is that not only does it challenge me physically, but man, it really keeps me engaged mentally. Teaches me not to quit. While I'm doing this, I'm like thinking through the phases of mental struggle that are gonna happen during this 1,000 is probably very similar to the phases of mental struggle that I've experienced and will experience continuing to build my business and build my company. It's not easy. There's gonna be moments, especially in the middle, the messy middle, where it's like, maybe this was a mistake. Maybe I'm not gonna be able to finish. You know, what happens if my knee goes out? What happens if this cramp in my lower back like gets worse? How bad is it gonna get? Am I even gonna finish? Like those kinds of questions where you're projecting out into fear into the future and trying to answer questions that you just can't answer. I can't answer that. Maybe my knee will go out, maybe it won't. The only way I'll find out is I keep going. So I love that mental aspect, the mental discipline aspect of fitness. For today's workout in particular, Chad 1000X is to honor the veterans, and it is specifically meant to be a grind, which is perfect for a video about building a business from the ground up. It's a freaking grind. So, all right, I got 900 to go. No more breaks. See you on the other side. Down, 750 to go. $500 down. This is that messy middle. I got a lower back thing. I got a cramping right calf, and the weight of this vest on my neck and shoulders is definitely wearing on me, and I'm only halfway. And man, it's just like building my business, just like you building your business and whatever dream you're chasing after. It's like, there is not a secret. The secret is don't quit. And then it takes care of itself. Just don't quit. So 500 more, here we go. All right, I'm at 900. I'm feeling it. It is amazing how many like life lessons there are in fitness. It's beautiful. This wasn't even supposed to be part of this video, but I'm 900 in. I'm feeling the pain, but I'm also to that place where like there's hope, right? 100 left. I'm going to do it. And I go back and forth. I'm like, yes, only 100 left. And I think, oh my God, 100 left. Like there's still hard work to do, even though there's a light at the end of the tunnel. The work isn't done. And in my business, I feel like if I were to equate where I'm at in my business right now, I'm somewhere between 750 and 900 in terms of turning the corner, surviving a really hard time, and beginning to rebuild and thrive and build the business I hope for. And I want to encourage you guys, if you're in a similar spot, you just don't quit. Don't quit. Let's keep going. I'm right with you. I'm feeling the pain. Man, I love the lessons that are built into fitness. All right, I'm gonna keep recording, and we'll just like fast forward this last 100, and then we'll be done and celebrate. That's it. It's 1,000. One more lesson from fitness today, because fitness is teaching me a lot. Willingness to do boring, repetitive things with commitment and excellence is absolutely a superpower. Kobe Bryant shooting, 1,000 free throws a day or whatever it was. It's major league players still working on fundamentals, still taking grounders. It's business people being willing to pick up the phone on repeat, or developers analyzing property and deal and property and deal after deal. It's following that schedule and following that budget, even though it's boring and not glamorous and nobody sees you do it. Your willingness to feel the discomfort of doing the boring fundamentals on repeat over time, that's how you win. Now, let's go finish up and get you your first real estate development deal. Let's do it. Okay, step 4 is funding. So I think for most people who are trying to get started, this is probably, if not the most challenging, at least the most daunting part of the process. Let's talk through it. All right, option number 1 is the most obvious and it's the easiest. If you've got cash to pay for things, whether it's yours or someone else's, great, just use cash. But if it's someone else's, now we're talking about a loan, aren't we? Or some sort of equity position. So equity structure is where this can kind of get fun and creative, and where you can really open up some opportunities, because most of us don't have the cash to do a deal like this without some kind of loan. I mean, just as a quick example, total cost on this deal, let's see, what did we pay? We paid about $200 per building pad, actually $225 per building pad, so $450 for the land, another $400 per house in build cost probably by the end of it. So now we're at what, $650 per unit. So we're at 1.35 million before we've paid build fee and before we've paid any interest carry. So Call it $1.5 million to do this deal. If you're not sitting on $1.5 million, there's a couple other ways to do this. I think the next question is finding investor partners who's gonna come in and either put down their own money or help you get the loan by co-signing, making a down payment, that kind of thing. From there, you can either use a commercial, like a standard commercial loan from a bank, or you can go sort of the private hard money route. Generally speaking, the hard money route's gonna be more expensive. You're gonna pay a higher percentage up front and you're gonna pay a higher annual interest rate. However, a lot of times underwriting on those is a lot easier, and they're gonna underwrite the deal and not necessarily underwrite you as a borrower. This is an area where you can get really creative. You can offer equity, you can offer private loans. Even if I borrowed this at a really high interest rate and I made somebody a great offer, hey, I'm gonna pay you 20% a year to borrow this 1.5 million, there's still probably a deal there for me if I've put together a good profit margin. So there's a lot of ways to find money, make it attractive to investor partners, and put together sort of an equity stack that makes sense for everybody. Heck, some people even partner with the builders and say, hey, as the builder, if you'll come in and you'll co-sign with me, don't charge me a build fee, just co-sign and maybe split the down payment, just build the deal and you can have 25% equity or something like that. There's so many cool ways to split it up. I can't go over them all here, but this is where you can really get creative. All right, guys, now it is time to build. Here's one of the big debates that I've been talking about a lot, and that is, do you build for yourself or do you pay a builder to do it? Now, since I've talked so much about the difference between the two, I'm not gonna belabor the point here. If you're only developing, then this is a period of time where, to a small degree, you can sort of set it and forget it. I think it's smart to obviously be checking on the progress, visiting the job site, being involved in design decisions and stuff like that. But ultimately, your builder, if it's not you, is gonna be the one with boots on the ground on a day-to-day basis, checking on the work, inspecting quality, interfacing with the city and their building inspectors and that kind of thing. I will tell you from experience, as a builder and as a developer paying a builder, that it often takes longer than you expect. And while it is nice as a developer to be able to somewhat set it and forget it, it can also be a little painful because it just takes longer than you think. Sometimes you don't know why it's taking so long or what's causing certain delays. The more communication you have with your builder, the better. And as someone who's been on both sides of that coin, on the one hand, it's great to hold your builder and your contractor accountable. We want them to deliver on what they say. By the same token, building is not easy. And there are so many variables that are outside the GC's control that I would encourage you to give them a little grace and ask questions before you assume the worst, because it is just not an easy process. The good news is, once you've built the house, you can roll right on to step 6. All right, step 6, you made it. This is where we win. Step 6, sell whatever you built. All right, now listen, don't scrimp on this, okay? Even if you're an agent, consider whether or not you need to work with another agent. Here's my 2 cents. I worked as an agent for almost 10 years before I started developing. I'm still licensed, and yet I don't list my own properties, and here's why. I want someone to be giving undivided attention to getting my properties sold fast and getting them sold for top dollar, and that takes skill and it takes attention to really do it well. So for some of you, you might be considering, hey, do I sell this thing or do I have an agent sell this thing? And I'm not gonna tell you there's a right or wrong answer. For me, I finally got to the point where I realized, okay, yeah, if I list it myself, maybe I'm saving 3% or 2% or something like that. And I just know from experience that compared to what a focused agent can save me or make me, that money pales in comparison. Not to mention, even if it just comes out in the wash, I've saved myself hours and hours and hours of time, a ton of phone calls, a ton of mental headspace. So hire somebody skilled and experienced to sell your stuff fast, get the most money. Congratulations. That's how you do your first real estate development deal. Guys, I hope that was helpful to you. I hope truly that makes it really easy for somebody who watched this to say, actually, that's totally doable and I can do this. And I'm gonna start on step 1. I'm gonna go find some land and then I'm gonna go down the list. I hope that you do that. Here's the bonus for today, okay? I like to throw a little bonus on the end of the video. I already did a separate video about this, but if you haven't watched it, here's the bonus. I use this sheet every single morning now. I just call it my 1 sheet. and it is how I focus and get oriented on my priorities for the day. I'm not saying you got to use my exact sheet, although you can. In fact, I'm going to put it on my website. I just decided just now. Go to Anchor TN. That's anchor like a boat anchor, TN like Tennessee. Go to anchortn.com/learn. And I'm gonna put this PDF, this exact one, on that link and you can use it. I have found it to be incredibly helpful because I start the morning by going, okay, what are the things I wanna make sure that I do today, non-work related? And then also, what are the 3 things work related that are my top priorities, such that if I do those 3, I know today was a success. It really gives me clarity, helps me kind of cut out the clutter, ignore the things that maybe feel urgent, but they aren't truly important, which we all struggle with that. So hey, I hope that's helpful. Go to the website to grab your copy of this PDF if you think it'll help your mornings. And if you're getting something out of this, as always, if you are becoming a better person, a better business person, a better entrepreneur, a better real estate developer or investor, then hook me up with one of those. I'll see you next time.